Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we have some tough news from the Indiana Fever camp that's shaking up the entire WNBA season. Both Aari McDonald and Syd Colson have been ruled out for the rest of the season, a devastating blow for the team and their fans. So stick around till the end because we're going deep into how this affects the Fever, what it means for their playoff hopes, and what might come next for these players. And if you love getting the latest sports updates, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. The big blow: injuries to Aari McDonald and Syd Colson. First off, let's talk about the injuries themselves. It's nothing short of a disaster for Indiana. Syd Colson's injury initially didn't look like an ACL tear, which is usually the worst-case scenario. Many thought it might be a meniscus or MCL injury, something serious but not necessarily season-ending. Unfortunately, the reality turned out to be worse. Syd Colson tore her ACL, and that means she's done for the entire year. For a player like Syd, this is heartbreaking. At her age and stage of career, recovering from an ACL injury is not just about healing, but also about returning to professional form, and that's a huge question mark now. Some insiders suggest she might not play pro basketball again, which would be a major loss for the Fever and the league. On the other hand, Aari McDonald's situation is also grim. She tried to tough it out, limping around and even playing a bit despite the pain. But the injury is bad enough to keep her sidelined for the rest of the season. And with both of them out, the Fever's depth at point guard is basically wiped out. What this means for the Indiana Fever: losing two key point guards creates a nightmare scenario. The point guard position is the heart of any basketball team. It's the main playmaker, the floor general. Now the Fever are down to just a few options, and none of them are ideal. Right now, the closest the Fever have to reliable ball handlers are Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham. But here's the kicker: Kelsey isn't a natural point guard, and Sophie, while versatile, isn't a traditional floor general either. In fact, the Fever might even have to ask big forward Aaliyah Boston to slide over and play some point guard minutes during tough stretches of the season. That's how desperate the situation has become. On top of this, the coach reportedly isn't fond of playing several of the remaining bench players, including Chloe Bibby and Bree Turner. That leaves the team thin and forced to rely heavily on players who might not be ready or suited to carry the load. Roster limits and league rules. Here's another wrinkle: the Fever can't just sign an unlimited number of new players. Due to league rules and contract guarantees, they can't go beyond a 10-player roster for the rest of the season unless they make tough decisions. If they want to bring in replacements for both Aari and Syd, they must cut someone else or wait for a player to return from injury. That's a tough spot to be in, especially when your coach is reluctant to play some of the available players. So even if they bring in new faces, fitting them into the rotation won't be easy. The coach's dilemma and team chemistry. The head coach faces a major challenge. The team is already dealing with a fragile lineup, and the chemistry on the court is strained. With limited options at point guard, the flow of the game suffers. The coach is forced to play a shorter rotation, risking player fatigue and injuries. Furthermore, there are players who, reportedly, the coach doesn't have full confidence in. That creates tension between playing the best lineup and managing personalities and styles. Caitlin Clark's absence compounds the problem. To make matters worse, star player Caitlin Clark hasn't fully returned yet. Her absence leaves the team without its most dynamic scorer and playmaker. When she does come back, it might take a few games to get her back into rhythm. With Caitlin out and the point guard situation in chaos, the Fever's chances to maintain or improve their playoff standing are severely compromised. Looking at the future, what can the Fever do? So what can the Fever do moving forward? They might explore signing hardship players, which is a temporary roster expansion to cover injuries. But that's a short-term fix. To truly compete, they need to find a way to build depth and trust in their bench players. There's also the possibility of cutting injured players to free up roster spots, though that's always a difficult decision, especially when the players are valued veterans. The Fever management must weigh these options carefully while keeping team morale intact. The human side: what this means for Aari and Syd. Behind these injuries are two players who have poured their heart and soul into the game. Aari McDonald, though young, is a fighter. She has the potential to recover and come back strong next season, whether in the WNBA or overseas leagues where she has previously played. Syd Colson, meanwhile, faces a tougher road. Her injury and age make a return uncertain, and it's possible she may consider retirement or transition to other roles within basketball, like coaching or commentary. It's heartbreaking to see careers impacted by injuries, but it's also a reminder of the physical and mental toll professional sports demand. What this means for the fans and the league. For fans, this season is going to be a roller coaster. The Fever's playoff hopes are hanging by a thread, but sports are unpredictable and teams can rally even in adversity. For the WNBA, this situation highlights the need for deeper rosters and perhaps greater support for player health and recovery. It also puts a spotlight on how much players like Aari and Syd mean to their teams, not just for their skills, but for their leadership and spirit. So what do you think? How should the Indiana Fever handle this crisis? Do you believe Aari McDonald and Syd Colson will make successful comebacks? And what does this mean for the Fever's chances this season? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We love hearing from you. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button, share it with fellow basketball fans, and subscribe for more in-depth WNBA updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time with more breaking news and analysis.